Hi, in this video we'll continue learning about for loops. This is a flowchart of the for loop that you examined in part 1 of this video. Notice that the update is a built-in component of how the for loop executes its code and that it occurs at the end of for loop execution. The programmer also has the ability to customize the 3 parts of the for loop. The loop control variable doesn't have to start at 0. You could set the initial value of the loop control variable to be any number or even assign it the value of another variable. In this example, let's adjust the initialization to start at a value of 1. Now when the program runs, the printed output will start at number 1 instead of 0. Or you could initialize I to another integer variable, like you see here. When the program runs this time, I starts at a value of 2, and that is the only value printed, since in the next iteration, I increases to 3 and the for loop terminates. Similar to what you've seen with other control structures, the Boolean expression can also be tailored to your needs. Let's change this example to be I less than or equal to 3. Can you predict what the printed output will look like when the program is run? Were you right? Similar to the while loop conditions, pay attention when you are setting up your control variable and Boolean expression. It is very easy to get a one-off error if you are not careful. For example, you may have wanted this loop to run only 3 times, but by writing the expression as less than or equal to, it actually runs 4 times. And finally, the update can also be customized. Let's change this example so that I increases by 5 after every iteration of the loop. Take a moment and predict the output when this program runs. How'd you do? I still starts at 0, but now increases by 5 each iteration of the loop. After 15, I increases to 20, at which point the Boolean expression evaluates to false and the loop terminates. Let's look at one more example. Read through each part, paying attention to each detail. Pause the video and predict what the output will be. Okay, ready? Were you correct? Here, the value of I starts at 10, then decreases by 1 every iteration until it equals 5, at which point the for loop terminates. If you've noticed that while loops and for loops share some similarities, you're right. You can actually write for loops as while loops and write while loops as for loops. Let's take a look. For example, if you wanted to count up from 0 to 4, you can write a very similar program using a for loop or a while loop. You can actually see the components of a for loop being used in a similar capacity in the while loop. The loop control variable for the for loop can be found as the initial counter used in the while loop. The Boolean expression exists equally in both, and the update is also present. For while loops, the update is part of the actual execution, whereas in the for loop, it belongs in the initial header. If both looping mechanisms are so similar, then why have 2 different types? When use one instead of the other? In general, the main difference between the two is that while loops work better for programs with an undetermined amount of iterations, when you aren't sure how many times the code is going to need to be repeated. On the other hand, for loops are best for programs with a predetermined number of iterations. Let's take a look at some examples that prove this to be true. Let's imagine a user needs to create a password for their new account. The user is expected to make a password that is 8 characters long and cannot continue on to the next part of the account creation until their password is the correct length. In this case, you cannot know with absolute certainty how many times this user is going to enter the incorrect number of characters. As a result, a while loop makes more sense because there is an undetermined number of iterations needed in this program. Instead, you want the user to keep entering a password until it's the correct length. Here, you can see a basic implementation of this logic in a method. There are 3 parts. The top sets up the scanner, the middle continues to ask the user for a password until it is 8 characters or longer, and the bottom returns the accepted password once the loop terminates. In contrast, consider this program. Let's imagine a user wants to know which numbers are divisible by 3 between 0 and 100. You can iterate through each number between 0 and 100 and see if 3 divides evenly into each of them. In this case, a for loop makes more sense because there is a determined number of iterations needed in this program. Here's the basic implementation of this algorithm using a for loop. This could also be written as a while loop, but would require more lines of code and is more susceptible to turning into an infinite loop. Here's an extra challenge for you. Can you think of another way to write this for loop that doesn't require an if statement? Since you know that the multiples of 3 will occur every third number, you can start the control variable at 3, then increment by 3 every iteration. In this case, you no longer need the if statement, and can just print out the values of I since you know every increment of 3 will be divisible by 3. Manipulating the initialization, Boolean expression, and update values reduces the number of iterations the loop will go through in order to print all the multiples of 3, ultimately reducing runtime and making the program more efficient. Now it's your turn to practice using for loops in your own programs.